before we discuss getting that big bet on the bookmaker, does your bookmaker take your bet? I saw this morning someone tweeted they tried to put a £4,000 bet on and was restricted to £4.32. Is that true? We'll find out in a moment. Just a couple of tweets that we'll read out, and this won't be in any particular order because obviously our Twitter man's not here tonight. He played rugby on Saturday and not here tonight. But anyway, this is from Tony Coleman, who says to Big Mac, just now complained about the paddock at Lingfield. That's the nicest thing left. He called it the ruddy gaff.
Yes. It's beautiful. I mean, it's the same as at Ascot, the old paddock that was at Ascot with all the trees and all that, but people can't get round there. You can't see. Racing is a show. You go to the theatre and they change the scene. You don't jump out of your seat. They change the scene for you. So people want to see horse in the paddock, or maybe in the pre-parade ring, certainly in the paddock, going down to the start, the race itself, coming back, see the presentation, everything. You can't do it all unless you're Usain Bolt.
Okay, let me go back to these tweets, because obviously we want to talk. We are going to actually preview a couple of races at Cheltenham tomorrow as well, so look out for that. On the note of Twitter doubles, and this is from Mark Water72, Duke of Lucca and Imperial Circus. He's gone for tomorrow.
He's right with one of those, and I'll tell him which one he's right with as well.
Right, okay. Billy Brakeman, you're quite right. Social responsibility is the key in relation to the FOBs. And someone's tweeted, are we going to preview the scheduled races for tomorrow? Yes, we are, but you just have to stay with us. Billy? Let's talk about, without naming names, obviously you are... Should we name names?
Same names.
Well, if you're brave enough. You tried to put a bet on today, and a big firm on the internet pulled you back. Explain the amount and why that happened.
The bulk of my money is from betting. That's what I do. I like to think I'm quite successful. We hear a lot of negativity around exchanges, which to me has been a godsend. When I try and get my bets on with a traditional bookmaker, it's getting harder, and it is hard, and I get knocked back for what I would say was very mean.
So what did you get?
Let's ask you one good question. You can answer this by naming somebody. Which is the best firm? To go to any of the big firms, you can get the bigger bets on, or are they all as bad as each other?
I'd personally give a positive mention to William Hill, who are very fair. They check with the trader, they usually come back and give me the bet. It's maybe when you phone people it's more likely, but I get knocked back for £1,000. So if I'm trying to win £1,000, you get knocked back. And what bothers me about that is not that I've got knocked back for £1,000. If I then try and put a bet on to win £400, it's knocked back.
Well, I find it amusing that you talk about exchanges in such glowing terms, but you require us bookmakers to lay you a bet. If exchanges are so glorious, if you were going to get your £4,400 bet on with exchanges, you would get it. But you don't. You turn to us. You turn to us as a community to lay you a bet that you couldn't get with an exchanges. But yet you're saying the Betfair and BetDAC and
I can get it with the betting exchanges. It just takes longer. You've got to feed it in.
How long? How long? A couple of days.
No, but you tried a bet for £100 at 10 to 1, or 14 to 1 actually, and that was knocked back.
So £100 at 10 to 1 with two leading firms got knocked back on
and I'd like to hear I'd like to hear from people who are watching this. Does that happen to you on a regular basis? I mean, what's your feeling on that, John? If he goes and puts a bet on it, he likes the horse, should he be able to put the bet on?
It is very difficult. I believe in freedom, and freedom is not just for the punter, but it's also for the bookmaker. And they're entitled to refuse any punter any bet that they want to do. That's up to them. But we're in such a strong markets now. It's not like the old days when the monopolies and the big boys and a few sort of smaller shops. And I used to work as a boardman and that sort of thing in smaller betting shops in London. The big firms, they dominated. Hills, Ladbrokes, Mecca, Coral, whatever they said, it was unanimity. It was like the bank rate. Never changed. All the banks, Lloyds and Butlers were all the same. Now, you've got so many other firms. There's so much competition, so much incentive to go and bet.
No, sorry, I can't have this. The stories that people are talking about are offers from major firms, multi-million pound firms offering £3 bets and £4 bets, £9 bets and £2 bets. It's ridiculous. The big firms need to look to their own PR. They need to accept a minimum lay to lose figure of say £50, something reasonable, £50, £100, lay to some figure that they're prepared to. If you're prepared to take a £100 spin on a FOB tee, it's a valid point. If you're prepared to take a £100 spin on your machine, then you should be prepared to lay a horse to lose £100. And if you're not prepared to lay that customer to lose £100, get rid of them.
But what happens is it goes to the liabilities department, and if you're making a lot of money out of them, they will restrict you, and they'll say to you, well, you can plan over roulette.
This guy's made money in the past year, we'll get rid of him. And, as Jeff said, if they phone you up and say we're getting rid of you, it's one thing. But the restrictions, I then get a restriction told that I've got to phone every Betfair and speak to somebody so they can check it. The amount you can have on is limited.
And we're not talking about small companies here that, liabilities.
These are massive corporations who make hundreds of millions of pounds per year out of their gambling exploits.
I'm sure my profit is irrelevant to their profit.
Well, no,
it's a profit. That's a problem.
Look, they don't want a profitable customer.
No.
In fairness, they don't.
No.
So with me, I can't understand it. Every bookmaker begs me to bet with them. Come on, John, please.
You haven't tipped a winner.
Exactly.
Sorry, John. Can I just move the conversation forward then? If someone like Billy can't get a big bet on, what do we read into the latest corruption side of things? Obviously, it's linked to football. We're not suggesting it's in horse racing, but the same thing applies in terms of getting a bet on. This is a Portsmouth game against Oldham. The legendly £75,000 up for grabs for getting sent off. How can someone get a bet like that on?
That is spectacularly easy to deal with. This is an absolute load of nonsense. It's nonsense. It's somebody getting excited, speaking to somebody else and so saying, we can make money out of this. Nobody lays these bets. There's not some fictitious Asian bookmaker who's going to lay a bet between Ryford and Welling Garden City on who's going to get sent off first or something like that. It doesn't happen. It's a nonsense.
No, but then we've had the same thing in cricket. We've had the same thing in athletics. The bets that go on overseas. And what is
the cricket match was Pakistan and South Africa. These were big games, not conference games.
And all that. But what we've got to understand is this. These are unregulated bookmakers around the world. So in other words, states and nations are losing billions of pounds of revenue from taxation, legitimate taxation that they could get. And therefore, the illegal bookmakers flourish. For instance, on the NFL, billions of pounds are bet on the Super Bowl in the NFL. Very little of it goes to Caesar's Palace and all these places in Las Vegas and Atlantic City. It's illegal bookmakers because there's so much prejudice against bookmakers we can't have them here.
It's not illegal for me to bet on the Super Bowl.
No, but millions of people in America and around the world bet on the Super Bowl, and it's
betting with firms in Antigua or
all sorts of things. It's not revenue producing for the states or for the country.
What I want to do is I want to go through some of the tweets. We've got one from Sandy Castle, actually. He talks about the exchanges. There is liquidity in Betfair, and that's why you can get the bets.
Liquidity near the race?
No, in racing.
Near the race, there's liquidity.
Oh, near the race. OK, because in the morning it's completely collapsed.
Yeah. So basically, the answer is he could get a big bet on with the exchanges.
But
you've got a little bit of a sense of perspective. What Billy's talking about is he wants to get the top of the market at 11 o'clock in the morning, and he wants the bookmakers as a professional punter. He wants the bookmakers to absorb that. Well, I say sink or swim. If you're in business and you're up against me in business, then you're not going to feed off my back and expect me to lay you an exchange price when there's only £9 available.
Yeah, but
I'm going to be expected to lose 3 or 4 or 5 grand, something like that in the morning, and I will comfortably lay it. But why should I lay an exchange price?
Yeah, but
that's what Billy wants me to do.
But you're on the rails, your eyesight's going because you're spending all the time looking at these little machines to find out what a Betfair going. Are we under the Betfair price? Oh my God, it's gone to 6 to 4 on Betfair. We'll have to go up the arm 11 to 8. So that's what you're doing. You're feeding on what Betfair are doing. Whether you're laying off of them is a different matter. Many bookmakers are all with BetDAC, but you cannot defy what the machines are saying. They dominate the market, and that's for the benefit of punters because you're so mean and grasping.
It's not just on course. It's not just on course. It's off course, John. They're obsessed with it.
I just want to go through some more of these tweets. And apparently tonight, Catterick has announced that they would like to go away. I don't know if that's true or not.
There was some talk that it should have gone to Catterick rather than to Newcastle.
So that's one of the items that have come out. There's also some more jumper doubles which we will read out in a little while. Someone says that the machines are discussed in turbo mode shows. All they want is to drain punters.
Who wants to drain the fobs?
Yes.
Drain punters? Well, of course.
Of course.
Who disagrees with that?
Statement of obvious.
Punters have got the choice. If they're stupid enough to do it, and I'd never do it, I would never play them, but they want to do it, it's their marketing offering it to them, choice. Our betting is the best in the world because the biggest choice we've got in the world. Early morning prices, Yankees, all these kind of things. Let the punters have the choice. Don't be a nanny, as you are, where we must stop them doing this for their own good.
I mean, I'm so sorry that someone's tweeted in, but because it's such an extended I've so many words, I can't read it. But it says, John, it's not the people that don't like betting on horse racing, it's that betting on fobs. I would presume he was talking about the addictive nature of it, and also, you know, ruin families and things like that, and the amount of
But the internet, you can 24 hours a day just press a button.
Yeah, you can empty your cards onto the internet with any number of gambling operations. You can empty all your credit cards, not just debit. It's credit. I mean, this is something that is wrong. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of gambling operation is wrong. They shouldn't be allowed to accept credit.
Okay.
Cards.
All my accounts are credit.
Okay.